everyone, and welcome back to episode 19 of my F1 2016 Force India career mode, where today, after this, we have got just 2 races to go. I can't believe how far we've managed to get through this career mode. The support overall has been incredible, guys. Thank you ever so much for that. But now, moving on to the Mexican Grand Prix, a track obviously they only featured in last year's game beforehand. So still a fairly new track to the F1 calendar here. As you can see, just coming through to the end of our track acclimatization lap, it was a fairly shaky lap, I won't lie. As you can see, there's quite a few greens there. But the team just really expecting us to manage to attack the corners with so much speed. This is also a track I've come to learn the hard way, that tyres are just completely everything. As you can see now, coming through the end of our first qualifying sim lap, we don't get anywhere close to what the team expected from us there. It's a bit of a shame, but now moving on to qualifying here. As you can see, just coming through the final sector here, the team want us to pit, but we're just going to try and fly through these final couple of corners, see what time we can post on the board. And what is the time going to be? We are going to go into pole position so far, but I highly doubt that that place is going to stay there. As we can see, now coming through on our second lap, as you can see, we've already dipped P14 overall there. So it obviously wasn't a particularly strong lap, and we moved now back up into P9 of the qualifying there, so fairly happy with that result in the end. Obviously, as I was saying, the car has really struggled in the last few Grand Prix. The first time in a long time that Sergio Perez has qualified me there, which was quite interesting. But as we can see there, just P8 and P9, obviously not as strong as we're used to, sort of like in the mid-stage of the career mode. You're starting to have that stage sort of around like Spa and Monza, where the car was probably at its strongest in comparison to the rest of the field there. But now it's kind of just not died down a bit, but it's kind of, obviously everyone else is still upgrading, and we're just saving up for Season 2. That's right, there will obviously be Season 2 on this game. But let's now move in to the Mexican Grand Prix here. As you can see, the temperature, beautiful, 23 degrees, you know, nice and sunny. Not too much to complain about there, so fairly happy with that. But now the game just refuses to load in less than 14 days. Because that's just F1 2016 for you when you get to this stage of the career mode. But anyway, now let's have a look at our race strategy. Obviously, we have to start on the set super softs, as we did make it into the top 10. But let's just have a fiddle around with the stints here, just see what's going to happen during this Grand Prix. We had a look at doing a double super soft stint there. But as you can see, during the second half of the Grand Prix, it is actually meant to start raining here, which could become very interesting, as we're just trying to put the fuel on as low as it'll go, with still being in the set. So let's move on into our formation lap here. One light, and away we go, and just there's the flying camera. Just I'm not really sure where that's come from, actually. It must have come from that cable on the right-hand side. But still, I've now learnt where cameras come from. But now, let's move on. Let's skip the formation lap here. And let's move on into the Mexican Grand Prix. 1 light, 2 lights, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights. And away we go for the Mexican Grand Prix. They get a much better start than our Mexican teammate there, old Sergio Perez there. Moving straight past Felipe Massa as well here. Looking to hassle the Mercedes as well, as we're just going to move past those guys as well. Now onto the Red Bulls here. We've had an absolutely incredible start there. Raikkonen on the inside there has also had a very good start there. As I think it's Ricciardo there just going to try and hold it between Raikkonen and I there. As we're just going to get caught right over this curve, and Ricciardo's just going to run hugely wide through turn 4 there. So we're going to move back up into P3 of the Grand Prix. Not really sure how we got away with that overtake on the yellow flags there on the hindsight. A bit surprised we managed to get away with that. But that has left Ferrari with a 1-2 of the Grand Prix. As you can see, coming to the end of that 2, the Ferraris have just absolutely ran away. I won't lie, I pretty much saw them at the start there, and then they just kind of just went, actually, you know what, we're not going to stick around with this scummy Force India. So that has meant now we're under a lot of pressure from behind, from Daniel Ricciardo, as we just don't have the tyre wear or the pace to maintain with these guys. As Rosberg's also just having a little look, he's going to back out of it slightly there. He's going to hopefully just, you know, watch us crash into each other and end up in a fiery inferno or something. But still, now moving on to the end of lap 4, start lap 5 here. We've got Nico Rosberg now who's going to try and go for a move. We're just going to go very defensive, try and break the toe as much as we can. As Ricciardo there as well. It seems to be that all these AI don't want to run a top speed setup, as Rosberg's now going to move down our inside there. We're going to make a bit of contact. Ricciardo's now going to try and look round her outside. We're going to try and avoid getting pinched here. Hopefully those two guys can come together or something, as we just get held up behind Ricciardo there. Rosberg gets a bit of a wobble on in front of us there as well. So we're going to move straight past Daniel Ricciardo there, as he got slowed down by Nico Rosberg. Are we going to be able to get past Rosberg though? The top end speed of that Mercedes, just between sort of 6th and 7th gear there, is so overpowered in comparison to everyone else. And Rosberg's just going to be able to hold the position so far. Are we going to be able to have a look into the double right-hander? Yes, we are. Just going to force him out over the curb there, and we managed to hold P3 of the Grand Prix. Because you can just see that how much of a train we have created at this stage of the Grand Prix. And now moving on to lap 6, let's just have a good view of that trade. It is pretty much everyone down to sort of like P12, I think. As we've got Ricciardo and Rosberg there going side by side. Felipe Massa's also looking very aggressive there. Very feisty. As Hamilton's going around the outside of Massa there. It's uncommentatable the amount of shit going on here. As Ricciardo, there, tries to have a look over inside but thinks better of it. Massa's now then going to get tagged and get spun off Rosberg's rear wheel. A bit like Rosberg got tagged by us last race weekend and got spun around. But Ricciardo now is just going to look up our inside into turn 5 here, I think this is. As he's just going to try and have a look up the inside. We're going to hold it around the outside through the first corner. Is he going to be able to hold it around the outside of the next? Yes, he is, but we've got the inside for the next 2 corners. Are we going to be able to actually, keep the position? No, we're not. Ricciardo's just going to get an absolutely beautiful run at the corner there. On the inside into the next corner. We just pretty much back out the position there as he gets held up on the curve there. So we take a little bit of a avoiding action as we thought he'd be a little bit more cautious than he was there. So now we are unfortunately down into P4 of the Grand Prix. Just ignore those lines. They are horrendously bad. I won't lie. The dirty air around this track is just impossible. I won't lie. But now moving on to the end of lap 8, we can see that Vettel and Ricciardo have actually come in to make pit stops. So we are now going to inherit the lead from Kimi Räikkönen there. As Vettel is already a pit stop up on ourselves there, we can see how bad the tyre wear was, as well there. As Vettel's now just throwing it up our inside. We got Bottas trying to throw it around the outside there. Is Bottas going to be able to challenge Vettel into turn 1? We give him a little push trying to get him around the outside. And it does look like at this stage that he might actually be able to get the position there. Vettel then just caught over his front wheel and pretty much just comes straight back onto our racing line there. Vettel deserves a penalty for that. But still, now moving on, we can see the tyres are at 82% wear though, so they're pretty much just about to die. As Bottas now is trying to throw it at the inside into the next corner, we just can't seem to hold it on the brake in there. Try and get the undercut back on him, but the tyres just don't have the grip to do so. Now we're just going to have a little fiddle around with the strategy and decide that we're going to stick with our 2-stop strategy on the mediums next up. But as you can see now, the clouds are starting to get a lot more prominent here. As we can see now, moving on to the end of lap 9 as well, we have got Jenson Button behind us, and if we get shat on by a McLaren Honda, I'm probably just going to throw it at the first corner wall. As Sainz now is going to look up our inside, coming towards turn 1, the Toro Rosso really seems to have done quite well recently. Obviously, we could be out getting second last race weekend out. They just seem to be able to get really good strategy at the moment, where they seem to just be sort of outside the top 10 and really good on their tyres. They seem to actually get very strong end race results there. As Sainz now is just absolutely romped off from us there, going towards turn 5 here at the end of sector 1. Not really sure if we're going to be able to keep with him, as next up is probably the threat from behind, which is Jenson Button there. But are we going to be able to hold the position from him? Not very long. As we run hugely wide there, Button's just going to throw it down the inside there. Will he get the position to stick? Of course he will. As the tyres just completely gone. The team keep on needing to change strategy there, but we're sticking by our medium set tyres for our next stint there. But as we can see just how little grip we've got coming through the next 2 corners here. Just Button, you can see just how much him and Sainz are walking away. So that is really just how much we are holding up the AI behind us, as Danny Kvyat is the next guy behind us. As you can see now, the tyres are at 95% here. Just coming through the next corner, and from 84 to 100%, our right front has blown. And that was a huge shame for us here, obviously. That just means it's going to cost us a few seconds, as we're now going to have to go counter-steering through the stadium section there. Our fans would have loved to see that, I won't lie. But still, obviously now, with that puncture, we're just going to try and barely make it back to the pit lane here. As we come in for our first pit stop of the Grand Prix, we're already outside the points pretty much at this stage, and as we're going to come through towards the end of the pit lane, it's pretty much just going to be near enough in last place here. As you can see just how many AI pretty much held up or close behind us on this racetrack. The only driver that's nowhere near us is Felipe Massa there, I think, and also one other driver that I can't remember who it was. But still, we're going to be at the pits in P20, and this race has really gone backwards for us. There's Massa gone past us, and Verstappen is actually last in this Grand Prix. They're quite surprised. As you can see now, moving on to lap 14, we are closing in on Ria Haryanto. As you can just see how overcast this Grand Prix is getting here. As we just move past Haryanto as there, I wasn't really too happy with getting the position. I was kind of more just concentrating on now how bad the track is really getting. As you can see now, moving on to the next lap, we have got a huge gaggle of cars just in front of us here. Massa, Palmer, Button and Gutierrez now are just ahead of us, so 4 different teams, or 5 teams including myself here. And as it is starting to look like the rain might start to be coming down very soon, as we just dump it past Gutierrez there. Not really sure what he was thinking there, as we just launch it past the Mexican there at his home Grand Prix. Not very good strong showing from him there. As we can see now, one other driver, Danny Kvyat, has then made a pit stop here. But let's just have a look what speed we can clock coming into turn 1 there. 227 miles an hour I think we saw on the speedo there. As you can just see how little grip there really is now coming into turn 1. The track is just getting so greasy here with the little spits of rain so far. and that's just meant into every braking zone. We really need to be a lot more cautious than we are being so far. As coming down through the second DRS zone, we are just going to pretty much launch up the inside of Palmer and Button there. So managed to get 2 positions there into one corner. So very, very happy about that. We've also gone purple in the first second. I'm not really sure how we've done that based on how wide we ran through turn 1 and how sideways we managed to go as well. But still, we won't complain about that. But now moving on to lap 17 here. As you can see, just behind Felipe Massa, obviously another car with strong top speed. Are we going to be able to get the position coming down towards 1? We've obviously running just a complete top-end tune here today. As we clocked 224, 5 miles an hour, 26 miles an hour before moving into turn 1 there. Even without the slipstream near the end of the straight, probably clocked at 230 miles an hour there. But now moving on to lap 20, as you can see, the raindrops are really getting visible now on the camera there. As you can see, I love the way the rain just kind of wipes itself down the lens there. As we're just running hugely, hugely wide here, it's pretty much the time to make a pit stop onto a set of intermediate tyres. So you can just see the heavens have now pretty much just opened here, pretty much as we come through the stadium section there. So we're just going to abuse this opportunity to come to the pits here. Trying to move past Roman Grosjean though, being a bit cheeky as well, pretty much barge him out the way there accidentally, as we got caught up on the wall. But that is a position we've made coming into the pit lane here. And the DRS now has been disabled, and that has obviously meant that it is ready for intermediate conditions. It's not just us that have decided to make the switch, as I think there was 2 cars going inside each other there. That wasn't very necessary to view. But still, our teammate now is going to the pits as well, so Sergio not having a very, very strong race here as well. And now moving on to the end of lap 21 here, as you can see, we are just following Sainz to go very, very strong P4. But there are yellow flags out, and as we come through the final corners, you can see on the left-hand side here, there is a Williams, I think that was Valtteri Bottas, has unfortunately ruined his Grand Prix there. Not really sure whether that was an engine problem or just the fact he ran off the track there, like through the final corner, but still, not much time to worry about that, as we're just going to throw it at the inside of Carlos Sainz coming towards turn 1. There's still like a minute advantage, the leader has like a 30-second advantage over us at this stage of the Grand Prix. So we come through that 22 here though, get caught over the curve there a little bit, get a little bit of a wobble on, can't correct it, just trying to slowly correct it, and we've managed to hit the wall, and we've ripped the tyre off the car there, and I can't believe that's happened here today. And we are out of the Mexican Grand Prix there. As you can just see, let's have a look on the replay. What actually happened to us here? You take far too much curve through there, take far too much curve through there as well. And we just slowly start losing it over the back end there. We just can't correct it in time, and we rip the wheel off on the wall there. Sainz gives us a huge barge as well. Impressed he's managed to stay in that Grand Prix. But that is a huge, huge shame for us. One of the only Grand Prix so far this season where we've actually DNF'd fairly close to the end of the race there. Not massively close, but I don't think I would have liked racing the next 15 laps in those rainy conditions there. Really just not a place to be. But still, as we can see now, I am the world champion somehow, even though I'm now Nico Rosberg. Another beautiful glitch. We had a name glitch last time out in America, didn't we? With I was supposedly the race winner. So the FIA just deciding their own rules about what happens to me. If you DNF on lap 21, yeah, 300-point bonus, I don't know. But still, Nico Rosberg is actually the world champion, and the game decides to fix itself afterwards. But Ferrari take home another great win there. Just really trying to help with their constructors' standings. They are still in a shout of the constructors, even though the driver's standings obviously has been decided there by Nico Rosberg. But Mercedes have pretty much wrapped that one up as well. So obviously the Mercedes OP still in existence on F1 2016. But the Ferrari mechanics are very, very happy to take home another good result there. Roman Grosjean gets 5th for Haas there, obviously after a huge disappointment last time at his home Grand Prix. But anyway guys, hopefully you have enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more F1 2016 content. And I will see you guys in the next one. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.
Keep it on the level, keep it on the level. I'm climbing up the ladder while you in need of a shovel. I can do this all day, I can do this all night. I can do this all day, I can do this all night. I could do this all day, I could do this all night, all month, all year, for my whole entire life. Who you know got a home but seen to live on the road, looking like a black gypsy in a caravan of bros. Music for the people, I used to rap on the train. Now I rap on the stage and I'm used to capital gain. I ain't asking for change, I'm good at coining the phrase. What I want is more than ever and never to fade away. Is that too much to ask? Good, cause I ain't asking. Already into action, I had your answer retracted. So stay about my business, it's crowded enough with me. You added, it's just a witness I'd rather not even see. I'm good with the folks around me, get from around me before we commence to clowning. Yeah, keep it on the level, yeah, keep it on the level. I'm climbing up the ladder while you in need of a shovel. Let's get at 'em. I'm climbing up the